4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you Set 5 of Stars vs. Con Degree Pro League Playoffs. And today we have SoulKey versus Brave. SoulKey for Woongjin Stars as the Zerg player, the yellow Zerg player at the 1 o'clock position, and Brave is the orange Protoss at the 7 o'clock position. This is the map New Bloody Ridge, it appears. So this is going to be interesting. Brave, I did not commentate this game, but I saw it live, in fact. The game between Brave and Flying. Brave pulled off an absolutely brilliant rush on this very map against another Protoss player, Flying. It was quite possibly the best PvP of the year. It was very reminiscent of Bisu versus Pakju, where basically the proxy was completely obvious, and yet Brave completely destroyed Flying. It was just a masterpiece, I would say. And if Brave can perform like that more often, he will be a Protoss force to be reckoned with. He may very well be one of these true up-and-coming Protosses, not your Snows who fail to live up to their potential. Anyway, SoulKey is an excellent versus Zerg and Protoss player, versus Zerg and versus Protoss player. He is 63% against Protoss, whereas Brave here is also something like 58 or close to 60% against Zerg. So both players are very good in this matchup. So this should be hopefully a very high caliber game here. Exciting game. Looks like an overpool coming out here for the Zerg player here. So it looks like Brave is going to spot this coming by SoulKey. SoulKey is going to I think try to put on a bit of early pressure. Although these days Zergs have actually been putting down the pool, but then opting only to morph 2 Zerglings, sort of posturing almost with the spawning pool. Or maybe they're hoping to scout with the Overlord and see what is actually going on before deciding whether to build Zerglings or not. If they see the Forge, will probably not build Zerglings. If they don't see the Forge, will probably build Zerglings. Actually makes quite a bit of sense, especially on these 2-player maps where you know exactly where your opponent's base is. Looks like SoulKey is going to send a drone to the 3 o'clock, as is standard for Zerg on this map. So there have been some excellent PvZs playing on this map, I have to say. Stats versus Hiva, for instance, quite an exciting game, and PvP too. I mean, the Brave versus Flying game, absolutely astonishing. Forge, then Nexus here coming out from the Protoss player. So everything seems to be going along as usual, and there are only 2 Zerglings morphed here, it looks like, by SoulKey. So that is exactly how he's responded. He saw the Forge, and he only built 2 Zerglings. And this does seem to be the Zerg build of these times, rather, and it does appear quite effective thus far. So that probe gonna eventually be chased down by these Zerglings, although probably a few more will need to be morphed to deal with this. Gateway going down here from Brave. Brave is, I think, quite a brave player. He is living up to his namesake. Let's hope he lives up to his namesake in this game. That's what I want to see. Some consistency, even if it's something that is bold, but yet you fail at it, that's okay too. If you fight hard and you play well, you lose, that's okay. Rolling over and dying, or playing sort of mediocre-ish and dying, that is not something that deserves praise. Now, unfortunately, you can't go around praising all the pro gamers. Otherwise, I think commentaries would not be nearly as exciting. Anyway, it looks like there is gas up here, and the layer is getting morphed here at the 3 o'clock location. These Zerglings going to sort of blockade the ramp there, stop the probe from going up. Not that I think it matters too much. Actually, no, there is actually a very good reason for this, which is that the probe is not going to actually know that the layer has morphed. But surely, I think, judging by the fact that Brave knows there's a lack of a Hydraliston in the main. Although the Hydraliston could have gone up here, so actually this is a pretty clever maneuver. I have to give SoulKey a lot of credit for this, now that I really think about this, because Brave doesn't actually know whether this is like a no-layer Hydra bust or not. He can't actually tell at this point. I think Brave would be wise to finish off the probe as soon as possible, so as to keep, SoulKey would be wise to finish off the probe as soon as possible, as to keep Brave here in the dark. Brave has sort of sent out a Zealot to try to scout, but I think Brave will suspect that there is a, well, not the Spire, but I think he will suspect there was a layer that was put down. And I think that is the assumption he should make, although I think it would be more clever for SoulKey to have actually put down Hydraliston and at his 3 o'clock position and start building Hydralisk, use Speedlings to clear out any scouts, and then mass up Hydralisk to launch a massive frontal assault. Spire is typical here, just to snipe the Corsair coming out first. He has not put down more extractors, which is what he would need if he wanted to really get Mulus, and you almost never see that from Zerg these days, Ellie anyway. More hatcheries going down, so it looks like SoulKey is going to play more of a standard game. Nice little mind game there. Maybe he did exploit it. I think even going standard, it was certainly worth it, so I have to give SoulKey a lot of credit for that. Brave, he really wants a scout, I'm sure. The first thing he's going to do with that Corsair is send it over here to 3 o'clock, find out what's going on. I think Brave would also be wise to sort of put a probe around the middle of the map, try to see whether there are Hydralisks coming out. As it stands, there are none, but this game could be very different. So Brave, though, maybe being a bit too cavalier with his assumption here that there are no Hydralisks coming out. So Brave now sending out his Corsair. He is going to see what is going on here. He sees nothing at the natural, but he immediately turns to 3 o'clock. He sees Spire lair, so he knows what is going on. I don't think he'll be too bothered. He also sees, of course, the other hatchery going down here. So let's see how Brave decides to deal with this game. What he does with his Dark Templar that he's going to get out here, and one of the Scourge already landing on that Corsair. That Corsair is going to try its best to run back to the base. I think it should be able to, as long as Brave micros correctly, or alternatively the Scourge just stop chasing it. That also works. These Zealots are going to push out. I never know why Protoss insist on doing this, pushing out with the 4 Zealots to try to kill drones, because it never ever works. I can't remember the last time something like this actually worked. There are actually Mulus out, surprising me. In fact, not too many Mulus, just a few here. Also some Scourge. There is speed upgrade finish for those Zealots, but the Mulus rendered the Zealots completely useless. Because when was the last time first few Zealots sent out by a Protoss player actually worked before they build up to a dozen Zealots or something like that? It never ever works. And sending them out just gets 1 or 2 of them, or possibly all of them, picked off there. Whether it's with Zerglings or with Hydralisks / Zerglings, or in this case with Mulus, which is admittedly more rare. Now, Dark Templar is going to be out. This Dark Templar, again, probably going to accomplish nothing. I do think Dark Templar can be useful as sort of a scout to see what is going on. But in terms of doing damage, it's not... Okay, it's killed 3 Zerglings there. That's actually something. But it's not going to bother SoulKey at all. SoulKey has Overlords all over the place, it looks like, to deal with this Dark Templar. But the Dark Templar has seen the Hydralisk. I think that is useful information, certainly. So, I guess Dark Templar being sent out makes a lot more sense than the initial few Zealots. Reach would send the Zealots out, surely, and those Zealots would own everything in front of them, but this guy is no Reach Brave. Maybe he wants to be Reach. He is. His name is a bold statement, I have to say. So it looks like these Corsairs are going to be forced back here in the middle of the map by these Hydralisks. Serious amount of pressure coming from SoulKey. Brave is putting down all sorts of cannons. I think he should be able to deal with this fine. There are actually Mulus in conjunction between the Mulus and the ground forces. It could be quite damaging. These Mulus are going to try to kill the Dark Templar. Lots of Scourge coming out to deal with the Corsairs. The Corsair forced to turn tail and run there. And the Scourge, a really impressive flock of Scourge, it seems. These Corsairs forced back. There are Templar at the front, High Templar. More gateways are going down, and there are 5 cannons, it looks like, which will be up. So this sort of combined arms assault here, not quite sure whether it will actually work. He doesn't actually have enough Mulus to dive bomb the Templar, and I don't think he has enough Hydralisks to bust anyway. He needs some more. He has, SoulKey has appeared to stash up quite a few units there near his 3 o'clock base, just looking at the mini-map. They're probably mostly Zerglings. I remember he morphed quite a few early on. Now, Brave pushing out with a few units, going to kill some Scourge there. That's nice work. Now the main force of the Zerg Air arm is going to come in and perhaps try to attack these Corsairs. There are a dangerous number of Corsairs at this point. No +1 upgrade, but it looks like 6 or 7 Corsairs. That is a lot. Able to kill Overlords very quickly here. So nice work by Brave, sniping what Overlords he can. attacked by these Zealots perhaps at that base at the 5 o'clock, but they will be forced back by the Mulists. Again, Brave not quite able to accomplish too much. He has sent a solitary Zealot over, perhaps as a scout, or perhaps to try to pick off drones, but there are Hydralisks in position to deal with that. I mean, he would, of course, want to pick off drones if there are actually drones there, but even as a scout, I think it is worthwhile. Now, Brave might respond by putting expansion down to 9 o'clock. Impressive air force and decent ground force here by SoulKey. He really has gone for a nice little combined arms army here. Let's see how well he can employ it. I think he's actually burrowed units all around. I think those are burrowed Zerglings forming that sentry picket there. Just looking at the mini-map, that is pretty clever, just to scout out where the Corsairs are approaching from, and so he can send his Scourge in to deal with it. At this many Corsairs, it is wise to split your Scourge and coming from 2 directions, so the Corsair splash damage doesn't just destroy all the Scourge. It looks like there might be a massive air battle here. Scourge coming, not able to do anything! Absolute disaster here, I have to say, absolute disaster for SoulKey. He lost so many Scourge, and this is what I mean. He didn't do that, and now SoulKey's Air Force is in desperate trouble here. These mules standing up, utter chaos in the air, I have to say. And SoulKey just not really turning a trick there, because missing a trick, I should say, not turning a trick. That's what prostitutes do. Missing a trick here. And it looks like this is not looking very good at all here. But there's a counterattack with these Mulists. They are going to be able to kill a lot of Templar. It looks like all the Templar and force Wasted Storm there. That is actually pretty good use of his Mulists, considering they were going to be pretty much worthless anyway against these Corsairs. You might as well sacrifice them now. But there are so many more Scourge being more Scourge. Sure, a pair of Scourge are cheap, 75 gas, 25 minerals, but when you start to lose, 20 Scourge, 2 dozen Scourge, or something like that, inflicting minimal casualties, that is actually pretty expensive. A better attack perhaps coming, a Scourge plus Hydralisk, going to be able to do a bit, those Hydralisks doing a lot of damage to Corsairs, so Corsair count finally being whittled down a bit here. Spore colonies being morphed. This shows you the desperation that SoulKey is in. He really wants to protect his overlords here. And I think at this point, it would be wise for Brave to persist with maintaining air superiority. SoulKey has thus far demonstrated he does not quite seem capable of coping. And he does have +1 air armor upgrade that is going to help him. But, I don't know. Brave perhaps does need a few more Templar, and Brave needs to be watched out with his Corsairs. They're going to lose 3 Corsairs there rather carelessly. That Corsair that went down at 7 kills on it. So, Brave's force being whittled down here a bit from a momentary lapse of concentration. Brave putting down under expansion, so perhaps with those Hydralisks, it looks like SoulKey will be able to defend okay. Air superiority, I think, is still very important, and Brave would not be wise to throw that away so quickly here. Looks like there is a bit of a probing attack here coming in from SoulKey, just trying to spot perhaps whether another base has gone up. I think he suspects because of the units on that ramp there. No more Corsairs being produced by Brave. I am not sure whether I agree with this decision, but here's hoping that he knows better than I do. But there is a fairly impressive ground army out from both players, it looks like, in these Scourge. Warding off the Corsair there. That's the difference between something like 10 Corsairs and 10 Corsairs able to stand their ground against the Scourge and slaughter them all, whereas the 5 Corsairs forced to turn tail against only 4 Scourge. Impressive army out here by Brave. He might be launching an attack here. Lots of Scourge being morphed. I mean, SoulKey really paranoid in this game. Rightly so, I have to say. He needs to finish off that Corsair force. Attack looks like coming out by Brave. Where are his observers? Oh, there is his observer. So the observer will spot these lurkers. Brave is going to attack at the front here. These lurkers are going to screen and force Brave back. So skirmishing units, but the main force of Hydralisks looks like they're being brought back, and nice sniping of observers by those Scourge, but it looks like Brave might be caught out of position. He might be surrounded here. Nice storm here. It depends. This battle of the choke point will be absolutely key. Who sees the choke point will win the battle here. Looks like Brave is going to seize the choke point, and this is going to force SoulKey back. So SoulKey, with those lurkers in the south there, inflicting good damage. Brave now on the counteroffensive. SoulKey forced to pull back. Both players are taking losses here, but I think Brave has possibly come out with just somewhat worse in that exchange. Actually, I don't know. He did do a lot of damage to the Hydralisk with his storms. but he was unable to really achieve too much. I guess it was more or less a draw at the point. Brave did lose a decent number of his Zealots there. Brave is going to be his main here. It looks like now Brave upgrading something in the Cybernetics Core. Maybe now he's upgrading Air 1? I have to see his Corsairs to be able to tell. Surely it's not Dragoon range. Surely he's upgraded that by this time. It'd be shocking if he did. He has +2 upgrade attack on his round. Yeah, the Corsairs don't have +1, so it's got to be +1 for the Corsairs. It's a bit odd. He should probably build some more Corsairs and not lose the ones he has. If he's going to upgrade +1 air attack, he should really use the Corsairs if he wants to do that. Using that Corsair to scout. Both players maneuvering around the map. Brave might be trying for an attack here outside the natural of SoulKey. SoulKey picking up another observer. I don't think this is going to work by Brave. Brave is going to be forced to retreat again. Brave not really able to accomplish much of anything thus far. SoulKey defense is not only solid, but really Brave has not gotten off any sort of attack on SoulKey's economy thus far. Some attacks going on here in the middle. One observer getting sniped, but both forces pulling back, or I should say Brave pulling back before the decisive engagement. There is an opportunity, I feel, for a player to exploit. Should someone try to move their army through the middle, that would be a golden opportunity, I feel, to try to attack and seize control of the choke point. Whoever controls the choke point will surely defeat the army in the middle. That I think can be a golden opportunity should these players choose to exploit it. The Filer mount out, you'll probably start seeing some good plagues. I don't know whether Cybernetics Core stopped spinning, meaning that there is no more +1 upgrade, or whether he canceled it, whether it's finished or canceled, I should say. Now, massive attack here coming in by Brave. Decent storms thus far. Still so many Zerg units on the counteroffensive there. 3 armies on the map. One holding down this Protoss army. A second one coming in from the back to flank, and perhaps another one going to attack natural mill. Just a lot of units coming into flank from the back here. The Protoss army at grave risk of being surrounded. Massive Zerg assault here. Protoss fighting desperately. Good storms, but so many Zerg units. These Zerglings going to absolutely mop the floor with the Dragoons. The Dragoons backed up against the wall and mercilessly cut down here from the relentless Zerg units. Absolute disaster, I have to say, for Brave. His army getting completely surrounded and destroyed there. He is down to a few Templar and Zealots, which he would be wise to retreat to his defenses, lest he lose what he has. And why are these drones being sent out? Is SoulKey so confident in his victory at this point? And I have to say, this series, there's been a lot of BM. Is SoulKey so confident that he's going to win he's sent his drones out? Wow, here's hoping that he wins, otherwise it'll be incredibly embarrassing. SoulKey does have a lot of units, and Brave does not have many. It looks like SoulKey is perhaps going to win. Maybe these drones will actually try to drill rather, or something like that. So, massive attack here, swarm going down. That's going to render those cannons useless, nullify the effect, if you would. Brave just doesn't have enough units here. It looks like view of this. He has Zealots under the swarm, able to fight back. And it looks like Brave might be able to hold off for a little bit. Still so many Zerg units sitting outside his natural. Great storms, the absolutely critical storms are doing a lot of damage, yet the Zerg onslaught is relentless here. Absolutely brutal assault. There are yet more Zerg units outside the base that have not actually been launched, sent into the fray, as it were. And Brave really doing his best to hold his ground here, doing what he can. Another great storm here, killing all sorts of units, including drones. Yet another storm causing all sorts of damage. And but the Zerg onslaught is just absolutely relentless. I cannot believe how many Zerg units have been thrown in here. SoulKey could care less about casualties at this point. This is wave warfare. Well, I want to say human wave, but obviously Zerg are not human. Zerg wave warfare here, Sauron Zerg, as it were, but Sauron Zerg, I think should, 4 bases, not quite enough to call it that, and this attack may yet be petering out here. I don't know whether those drones were a mistake or not. There's another drone sent to the front. It maybe wasn't intentional, I don't know. This is, again, kind of confusing play by both players. And SoulKey, his assault finally petered out there, and somehow Brave just, these Protoss stands are always a sight to behold against the Zerg. I always think Zerg, seemingly with endless numbers, just attacking the Protoss, trying to wear it down, but the few Protoss defenders, I don't know whether it's through sheer will, or their cybernetic armor, or their psionic powers, probably a combination of all those. Certainly the Storms and the Archons, very devastating, and holding their ground by the skin of their teeth. And it looks like Looks like Brave has actually managed to rebuild a bit of a field army there. He is actually in some danger of running out of resources. He's probably thinking about setting up another base. Great storms again all over these Hydralisks. Gonna dent some more forces of SoulKey's, but SoulKey has, looks like, built up more armies here in the middle. He might decide to throw these in to try to deal with these Zealots. Good attack here, perhaps coming from SoulKey. It's a storm over there, and it looks like SoulKey is going to press the Protoss defenders back against the wall, but the Zealots are having none of it. They are charging into the fray there against Hydralisk. Not able to accomplish too much, and I think Brave will be forced to withdraw yet again. SoulKey bringing down reinforcements. Two Archons, but Archons do very little against Hydralisk. SoulKey would be wise to finish off this Protoss army, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Good storms, but another Protoss army getting destroyed here. Those two Archons are going to be trapped before the reinforcements can come in to try to save them. Archons going down. And Brave not able to unite his Templar with his Zealots. Again, Brave perhaps a bit foolish with his attacks thus far. Also, it does appear that Zerg have better upgrades. There are also Defilers 2-2 on the melee, and I think 2 range on the Hydralisk too. And these two Archons morphing in the middle, they're going to get destroyed. This is probably GG for Brave, even though I thought he fought very well. Just, I don't think he has enough experience. He's a pretty new player, I do believe. Even though I think he's played, he's done well here. I salute him, and he certainly deserves not to have any BM done to him. If these drones are being sent out for BM, which I think it is, GG coming from Brave, I don't know. Maybe those drones are just being transferred. Again, this is not very sportsmanlike by SoulKey. I'm not sure I approve. Brave, I thought, fought well. Just not necessarily with the best decision-making this game. But nevertheless, we are going to go on to the next